Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope that you can hear me. Anyone who is going to join first, it is humbly requested that you guys please comment that whether you could see the live streaming of my video and as well my audio. If you could hear me, I'm audible, then I will shift towards the presentation slides. So whoever is going to join first and can hear me and see me fine, kindly let me know. I would like to repeat myself again that if anyone who has joined, I would like you people to let me know if you could hear my voice and see my screen. Once all of that is clear, I will shift to my presentation slides. Okay, thank you, Mariam. Thank you. I shall proceed with the slides then. And people might join. I started a minute or earlier, but I guess that's fine. Okay, so today what we are going to be doing is basically question attempting techniques. Criminology, well, I would like to start from the very basics that what are going to be the basic techniques for tackling the question and then how to answer them, especially for criminology. But because there are many aspirants over here and not all of them have criminology as their optional, so I thought that I would not jump straight away to the specifics of the subject of criminology. Rather, I would start from the very basics and then I would build myself up towards criminology. So the first part of this presentation is going to be a generic one for almost everyone. And before I start my presentation, let me tell you one thing, that is, this is my own technique. This is what I learned through my experience when I was preparing for the CSS exams. And it was an amalgamation of techniques which I picked from different teachers. So it was something that I built by taking some technique one from this teacher, technique two from that teacher, and technique three from some other teacher. And then I used this approach. So this is entirely optional. It is not like that you have to follow what I'm going to tell you. If you like it entirely, go for it. If you like bits and pieces of it, then pick those bits and pieces. If you do not like it, then it's all your choice. There are other choices as well. These are highly my views. So I would just like to start. Okay, so as I've said that I would like to start from the basic theme. The basic theme, or which you could say that what is in general. You could apply this technique to almost all of your subjects wherever you're answering, and at this point of time, it would be reasonable to say that you guys might have practiced in terms of solving the past papers. If not the past papers, then at least practiced in writing. So now we are going to try to understand what are the general techniques, that what basic theme you must follow when you are about to answer any question when you're seated in the exam. So the very first one is the structure through body approach. In structure through body approach, what is happening is that you know that in essay, what's happening is that we have a body. In essay, we always create a body. We talk about the structure and what is that body. That body is basically, it includes an introduction. It has an intro, and it has an intro, the part one, and then it has a huge body where you include your paragraphs, and then it has a conclusion. This is what body is. This is your intro where you make your introduction. This is basically the main body, and then this is the conclusion. So what is all this? This is basically what we call a body. We call it a body. And this is the body approach that you must use in your each and every question as well. Each and every question, let it be current affairs, let it be any optional subject, it must include an introduction, it must include a body, it must include a conclusion. So this is part one, that whenever you're about to answer your questions, always follow the body approach. Create a structure. And within this structure, I will tell you what comes next. But this is one of the very basic approach. Do not go with straight away paragraphs. Do not go straight away with paragraphs which have the same, which have no flow. There is no basically differentiation that where the answer is starting and where it is ending. So you need to have this approach. That's why the more essays, so you are basically writing mini essays in almost every of your answer of your other subjects. So it is sort of a mini essay that you need to write, and this is the body approach. The second thing that you need to focus is basically the headings. You need to focus on the headings. And where do the headings come? Headings come over here in the body. Headings come over here in the body. So when you are going to be in your body, you need to have crisp headings. You need to have crisp headings. Why? Because headings are like the guiding post. Headings are like, it tells your examiner that where you're about to head. It tells your examiner that whether you are writing relevant or not. So writing headings, crisp, solid, short, which convey the meaning at a blink of an eye, which are one-liners, not more than one line. Try to confine your headings towards one line, because there are no things such as two-line headings. So your headings must be there in your body part. And when headings are there in the body part, it basically creates your entire body. Now, one of the prerequisites of writing the headings is that you need to make sure that it is written with respect to the nature of the questions. Headings always point out that, okay, I'm writing about this question. You are not supposed to write your own headings, whatever you feel like. You should write headings which basically point out to the question's nature, that what is the question demanding. This is what headings are meant for. You should not write any headings on your own. You should write each and every heading which basically points out to the nature of the question. So over here, what I have done is that I have picked up a question, and in this question, I will tell you that what type of headings you are supposed to make. So we are going to study this question. This question is basically picked up from criminology. And the question says that intelligence-led policing has become an effective model of policing in tackling organized crime. Now, please do not worry. This is basically a question from criminology. So those people who are having a very generic approach, you will get the gist of it, what I'm trying to say. So the question further says that discuss the background and key principles of intelligence-led policing. So this entire part, which is the first part, which is the first sentence, it basically creates a stance that, okay, you need to follow this stance. But the question lies over here, which talks about the background and the key principles. That what I need to do is that I need to define the background and key principles of intelligence-led policing. Of intelligence-led policing. So what are going to be the headings of this question? Now I need to make sure that whatever headings I'm going to make, they are going to represent some sort of a background. They are going to represent some sort of key principles of intelligence-led policing. So I must not deviate away. I must not say that, okay, how intelligence is an effective model of policing. If I do that, basically what I'm going to be doing is deviating away from my question. That let's suppose if I write the effective model of policing. Now, this type of a heading is not going to point out to the crux of the question. Why? Because effective model is not being asked. It is just a stance that tells you that where you need to go, but the main question lies over here, which is the background and key principles. So you need to focus on headings which talk about the background and which talk about the that what headings are going to be like. For example, let's say that I want to describe the key principles. And within key principles, what is going to happen is that, let's suppose I say that make a heading where you say combining problem solving policing. That could be one key principle of intelligence led policing: information sharing, police accountability, enhanced intelligence operations, and etc. So what I have done is that I have described certain principles where I have told that, okay, these are going to be my headings, and then I proceed. So you need to make sure that whenever you are dealing with a question, you need to follow the headings which basically point out to the nature of the questions. So this is the second part, which is very crucial and it is very important. I'll just make sure to see that if everything is being heard clearly. Chalna, bro.